I have a question for you. Do you believe in dreams? Well, hello, little person. A most odd question, if I may say so. That is quite adorable. An odd question. Most people would say, do you believe in wibbly wobbly moons? An air raid siren? These creatures don't seem to be coming from the air, they seem to be coming from deep below us. Press J to grab the box. Do I want to put it towards me or push it away from me? Release J to drop the box. Ah. Interesting. Most people would say, do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in fate? Few people would ask if you believe in dreams. So I'm guessing from the height of these doorways that I am a little child. A little child that lives in a building with gammy electrics, as is so very often the case in these games. Please, turn to your room. What's this? This is a thing. I have had this thing. Not entirely sure what it is, but I'm glad to have it. Kitty out. This got a little bit more dangerous than I expected. I don't believe I have a sprint, which is a little bit of a travesty, and now I'm getting Old World Blues vibes from these. Oh, goodness. I wasn't expecting this. Not convinced I know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. I was... I like that I don't seem to be affected by gravity. Ow, my feet. They seem to have been slightly impaled. When this game began, it said, warning, this game can cause nausea due to the rotation of the camera. And when I saw that it was a sort of 2D side-scrolling didgeridoo-dah, I got a little confused, thinking how the hell can a camera rotate in a 2D game like this? But now, I'm beginning to see what it means. I can't say that I feel nauseous yet. I do feel a little befuddled. Other than that, I think I'm alright. You want me to have that, don't you? Come on. Never mind. That spiky thing is going to catch me. I don't particularly wish that to happen. Oh, kitty. Oh, don't put me all the way back to the... Thank you so much. I'm glad to see you have a semblance of honour about you. Kitty. Okay then. Did I even tell you what the name of that game is called? No, because I'm not entirely sure you pronounce it. I think it's pronounced Ollie, who is perhaps my little severed chap here. Right. I didn't even jump that time. Right, come along now. Use your knees. There we are. Much better. What's with the bird cages? They remind me of Old World Blues as well. I'm not entirely sure I feel particularly safe here, and not just because of all of the spiky things that are trying to chop me into little bits. Man alive. This camera rotation is truly a unique idea, because it makes it much harder to see where you're going, because I don't have, like, all of the 16:9 to enjoy. I've suddenly got a hell of a lot less to work with. Oh dear. I could be running straight towards danger, and I wouldn't know. I can't see a thing. Oh, plants. How pleasant. Yay! I've got in the elevator, and hopefully everything's fine. Oh, that was just the introduction. That could have been the whole game, and I would have been impressed, my friends. Yes. There it is. I apologise if I'm mispronouncing it, but it's the best I can do. So, I don't really know anything about this game. Oh, except that I have a family, and we all seem to have odd red stripes tied around us. This evokes memories. I am a small person with a small happy life and a train. Yay. It seems, however, that I must answer the telephone because my family is a little bit too tardy to do that. Can I pick up this box? No, I cannot. Can I answer the telephone? What the hell was that? I don't like you. You seem to be wearing armbands. And from my knowledge of history, that is never a good thing. Alright, let's just forget about all of that and go back to enjoying breakfast and a book with dearest family. They're at the door, aren't they? Yes, they are, and they don't look any better up close. Oh dear. I'm getting a sort of dystopian vibe to this. Almost a slight, I can't even remember. What's it? Is it 1984? I can never remember the... Yeah, that's the exact kind of armband I was thinking of earlier. And that's exactly why I said it was a bad thing. Yes, I'm getting a real 1984 vibe off of this, which is odd, because I've actually never read 1984, despite it being such a classic. Yes. I'm reminded of the Sheldon Allman song Big Brother. An excellent song and an excellent album. Ah, and now I'm reminded of the London Underground, though actually no, the London Underground is far more confusing than this is. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So presumably that was a memory of my earlier life before... I'm sorry, what? This is a very odd perspective of my earlier life before whatever happened that made me all alone in this world. So what are these large creatures? What are they all about? Because it seems like... Goodness. It seems like the people that came to the doors were humans, but that creature certainly isn't. And what does this do? Goodness. Goodness. Okay. So I can use these terminals to switch between... Well, almost to turn the gravity upside down. Curious. I don't stand a chance of getting this back across here, but I suppose that one must try. What happens to the box if it gets a bit stabbed? Am I even going to have to find out? Gladly not. I have a funny feeling it would have been destroyed. So do I need this box on this side, or do I need to switch the gravity to take it to the other side? I don't know. I feel like I should go across here by myself first, just in case I don't need the box, and I don't want to waste time bringing it. No, okay, I do need the box. Okay. That's a curious slogan. Building a blue future. Now, what do you mean by that? Do you mean blue in the classical jazz sense? Or does the colour have some other kind of connotation, like how the colour green has obtained a connotation in recent years? Okay, I'm going to guess that changed something on the floor. Yes, one presumes, as I think we're currently on the ceiling. And I'll try to channel my inner Neil Diamond. Right then. So then presumably something has changed over here. A doorway, perhaps. Yes, there we go. What's with this strange boxy symbol? It was on the faces of those creatures wandering around outside. And I found myself wondering whether Box up. Yes, you're trying to tell me it's on the ceiling, aren't you? Elevating your box to new heights. I'm beginning to wonder whether those creatures were in fact not living, but in fact some sort of creation, some form of automaton, perhaps. If this box is their head, then perhaps the box has some kind of mechanical or computer components within it. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Somebody played Limbo a few too many times, didn't they? Right, oh. You see, I have... In situations where we had those spikes going up and down out of the floor, the tactic I tend to use is push yourself right up against the spike and then hold the direction that you want to go, so that as soon as the spike goes up, you start moving, which means you get as much time as possible in order to move. I was trying to do the same with this little pincer here, but obviously that didn't quite work, so I just need to scooch myself up, wait for it to move up, and then slip under it. Right, this is going to go quite a lot worse. As if we needed any evidence. But never mind, we've got it all the same. Now, let's try again. Okay, good. So perhaps the box is impervious to any of the damages. Can I use this to take the box with me? I can. Interesting. And another of those. I feel like those might be collectibles. Perhaps if I kept the box with me, I'd be able to jump and get that. Hopefully they're not too essential. So the box would have appeared over here. So there was there another of those controls here? Yes. But what good would this do? It would just take it back to the ceiling where I've just come from. I'm trying to think of the rotation. I think it sent it off to the left, where the spider was. Has it killed the spider? Allowing me to continue? It would seem to have, yes. Curious. Okay, so does that get me past the blockage? It was on the right hand side of the cleaner screen. Oh gosh, and now they've got banners. At least they have a bouncy ball to play with. Oh dear. I am quite concerned. I can't pick up my bouncy ball either. Perhaps I should just go and give my mother a bit of moral support. Where did my father go? It's a question I've been asking myself for a decade. Anyway, back to the game. I'm going to guess he was either taken away as some form of enemy of the state, or possibly some form of forced conscription. Oh, giddy yarns. Okay, it is a spider. I just said that because I was thinking of Limbo. Okay. Ah. And zeppelins as well, because we hadn't had quite enough similes yet. Well, at least the architecture's advanced, because that makes up for everything else, doesn't it? Giddy art. Oh, giddy art. The thing about being chased is that you want to risk it and go faster. But at the same time, I really, really don't. Come on. Again, that creature has that box symbol on its head. There must be more to these boxes. They're some kind of hub for for all of these creatures that are wandering around. First encounter. I like the fact that you put the word first on there, because that means I'm going to have to deal with this again. What's with the massive spoons? I'm not against spooning, but I think I don't particularly wish to be spooned by that. I'm going to get clobbered by that, aren't I? Well, not yet. Okay, I have become the bouncy ball. Okay. Goodness, this game is it's quite difficult to control, this ball. It keeps you on your toes. It doesn't keep things constant. Right, giddy aunt. It says press A and D to move, but I'm not convinced that pressing A actually slows you down or stops you. The ball has an immense amount of momentum. At least this gives me another opportunity to try and get this. Now, where can I stand? I can stand here, so if I jump... Huzzah! I've got it. Right. I should either try and go as fast as physically possible, or as slow as physically possible. And again, I feel like I should risk it and go slowly. Or rather, risk it and go quickly, rather than going slowly. I mean, it says proceed with caution. See, look, I am holding the left control down to the maximum. You do slow down extremely slowly. Perhaps I shouldn't try to jump. Perhaps I should just try to roll onto it instead. Like this. There we are. There we go. Giddy aunt. Momentum is a pain in the neck both ways. Both because it stops you from slowing down, and because it stops you from speeding up. Giddy aunt. I'm gonna end up with a fair few bruises by the time I get out of this thing, aren't I? Right. Let's try this again. Getting onto it seemed to work fine, but I'm not convinced I'm going to have enough speed to get off it. I need to keep up a little bit of speed. I'm going to try and move myself to the back, and then kind of catapult myself forward at the last moment. There we are. That worked a little better. Okay, where to now? Oh yeah, this bit. I forgot about this bit, because somehow I seemed to get through this bit successfully last time, even though I barely tried. Okay, I can't stop on that ramp. I'll just roll backwards. So I need to time this quite carefully. Okay, this isn't quite what I had in mind. Momentum. Let's try this again. Yeah, that sort of worked. On one hand, I want to try and get this. Yay! I'm not convinced these are going to do anything. I don't feel like they're going to be the difference between the good ending and the bad ending. If indeed this game has multiple endings. But, for the time being, I'm just going to... Ooh. Ooh, that was close. Too close for comfort. My giddy aunt. Okay, saving. Thank you. I do not want to go through that little song and dance again. Right. Onto an old rickety bridge. I feel like speed is... Never mind. Just take every word that ever came out of my mouth and put it in a big book called A Load of Rubbish Which Should Be Ignored, and then put it in a library no one will go to. Right. Now, which one was it that disappeared? It's that one. How do I get across that? I feel like my jump is going to get longer if I go faster. So I need to jump over this rock without losing speed. There we go. Now I want to slow down as much as physically possible. Okay, there's nothing I can bump into. There we go. There we go. That's better. Starting to get the hang of this. At least a little bit. No, I'm not going to get another one of these things. Get down. Stop it. Thank you. Right. Me and my Pokeball are going to carry on our little trip. Oh good, a hillside. This is going to make me pick up a hell of a lot of speed. I'm going to hold the left control. What the hell is going on? Oh good, now I'm going even faster. I get the impression it wants me to go super quickly. This is what the hell? Blue areas, red areas. It's like, what is going on in this place? Hopefully that impact would have broken the ball apart. Yes, the bridge. Right, at least we're back home. Ah, and with my train I have a little hot air balloon. I don't... Oh good, at least I've got one member of my family. Or at least as much of the member of my family has been left once the alcohol has taken most of her away. So another little memory. I've landed on a train. Perhaps we can have a little battle on the roof, like in a western. Right then. At least we're done with the momentum controls, at least for now. Alright then. Well, this is a beautiful landscape, I must say. That's not quite so beautiful. I also barely noticed it was there because I was so busy looking at the background. Sorry. I'll try to pay less attention to sightseeing and more attention to getting the tips of my toes chopped off by the pointed bonces of these creatures. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Their shape, with their point on top, rather reminds me of something which came before that which we saw marching outside the windows, shall we say, to put it carefully. There's a, I'm not enjoying those noises they make. That's one of the odd things about arachnophobia. Spiders don't make sounds. They're incredibly quiet creatures. I've never quite understood why, but they're incredibly quiet creatures. Yet spiders in video games always seem to make these horrible noises which we so accurately associate with spiders. Right, there's some more of that charming graffiti over there. This game is very strange. This world we live in is very strange. Why is there another world directly above us where everything is a bizarre mirror image? It's very irritating when you press the spacebar and nothing happens. Oh well, never mind. Let's try that again. The thing is, you always want to wait as long as possible before jumping so that you make up the maximum amount of distance, but then you leave it slightly too late. And then you don't actually make the distance. You don't even make the jump. I can't even make sentences. Okay. Giddy aunt. It's not rocket science, it's basic timing, and yet seemingly I'm rubbish at it. But oh well. Here we say in entertainment it's important to be consistent so the audience knows what they're getting. Well, I think the audience will always know that they are getting a perfect example of how to royally suck, no matter how many different things you try your hand at. Right, let's try this again. I find myself wondering what's on this train that needs to be guarded, given that these just seem to be almost empty pallets. Like empty carriages for cargo. Now what does this do? This brings something down, doesn't it? Oh, goodness. A timer. Great. So I've got to get back over there, go up, and then go across again before the timer runs out. Well, this is going to be a fun little adventure. Let's wait for it to reset so that I can have the full time with that proper understanding of what it is I'm supposed to do. And then we'll try this. Okay, here we go. What a spiffing beginning. Oh good, and you're going to put me back here. That seems hardly fair. Alright, give me a moment. I shall try to do this again, and I shall try to suck slightly less. Okay, there we go, all sorted. Okay, much better. I managed to get overconfident, and as so often in life, that got me impaled in the buttocks. Right, I managed to get through that on my first attempt after actually getting back to the switch. We needn't talk about how many attempts it took me to get back to the switch. Oh, okay, so you can drop down into this little spot here, where the spikes will emanate from. Interesting. Yeah, I suppose it would be necessary here, wouldn't it? Because you're not jumping over, you're just running through. At least that means I can use my tactic. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This should be relaxing. The muted colours, the quiet environment. The beautiful landscape. I still don't get why the moon is so wobbly and bobbly when I move from side to side, but never mind. Yes, this should be relaxing. I mean, it's not... I can't think of quite the right word to describe this. It's not tense exactly. Because you can take the game at your own pace, and there's lots of little safe spaces where you can stand. It's more like a sense of knowing that you've got to do something. Like, you can pick when it happens, but you've got to do it. Like a... Dear. Because there's two types of unpleasant anticipation. There's the unpleasant anticipation you get waiting for a job interview, when you're sitting on a little chair in a room, waiting for the previous person's ordeal to end so that yours can begin. There's that anticipation where you're just waiting for the moment to happen. You know it's going to come, you just have to sit there and wait until it happens. And that's something unpleasant is definitely going to happen, particularly if you're too busy prattling on about human psychology in order to actually pay much attention to the frickin' game. Then there's another type of anticipation, where you're aware that you have to do something unpleasant, and you have to pick when that happens. And that's rather different. I'm trying to think of a good example of that. I suppose one of the more depressing examples would just be you picking when you have to get out of bed and face the day. This game invokes the latter type of uneasiness much more than the former. You get to pick when the terror begins. But, oh gosh, now you're doubling them up on me. That seems hardly fair. Right. I've learned it's a good idea to pick your moment with these guys. And pick it very carefully. Ah, good. I'm always pleased to see that little swirling box. And I'm always unpleased to see you unpleased. Displeased, Phil. Right, why do I get the impression you're going to come with me? Yep. Had a funny feeling that you'd be able to do that. Can't say I've ever seen a spider drop off the ceiling, and I sincerely hope that I never do, because the concept of a spider moving quickly is honestly one of the most terrifying concepts that spiders can be associated with. I think I've mentioned that before, that one of the things I find most unpleasant about spiders, I don't find them I do find them physically unpleasant, particularly their faces. I feel like they've got far too much stuff going on their face for them to be, oh, giddy aunt. For them not to be scary. I feel like no creature needs that many eyes and mandibles. But, it's the way that they move. They move in a very mechanical way. They don't move in a natural way. Because you and I and other creatures move in very fluid motions. Spiders move in a very jerky manner. Or at least that's certainly how they seem if you ever watch them move. You'd think I'd be good at this by this point. I've been jumping up and down on these things for quite a while now. They move in a very mechanical way, in a very jerky manner. At least their legs certainly do. And that's what I find most disturbing about them, because they don't seem natural. You know, for crying out loud, why do I suck at this so much? Dear. Because some people have a phobia of snakes, for example. I don't mind snakes. I wouldn't want a snake around me if it were a dangerous snake, but if it weren't a dangerous snake, or it's just like a snake on a screen or something or in a movie, then that's absolutely fine. I have no problem with them. Gideon, I cannot wait for this thing. I cannot wait a split second for this thing. But some people find them rather unpleasant because they seem to move almost completely, well, I mean, they do move by themselves, but, you know, they just move. There's nothing that seems to be propelling their movement, which I think is one of the things which makes people feel rather uneasy about snakes. Spiders, their jerky movements just make them seem so unnatural, so unlike anything else, which just gives them this horrible air of nobody should be around this thing, especially not me. Right, how the hell does this work? Is that a boat? I feel like that's what I'm looking at. Perhaps they're big hoppers of something. I'm not going back for that. Somebody who is a little less fearful of the old 8 legs can go back after that. I've also realised you don't actually have 8 legs, do you? You have 6, which makes you closer related to an ant than a spider, which is an interesting little realisation we've come to. Oh, a hot air balloon. Can I escape? Can I go on a little trip? Huzzah. Remember the hot air balloon? Actually, there was a hot air balloon on the train, wasn't there? Yes, in my home. Just here under the table, there was a little hot air balloon on the end of the train. What's with the candles? As the alcoholism developed into Satanism? I couldn't go this way before. What the hell? Yes, it's turned into cults. Great, I'm guessing that ain't sheet music. No, not bunkers. Oh dear, oh dear. Someone's been reading their history books. Right, let's go off for a lovely trip in a hot air balloon. I'm sorry, what? Wait for the camera, stay in the frame of the camera. Okay, it says like some feedback after the first video I made. Press space to float the balloon. What the hell? So is the camera going to move on its own and I have to catch up with it? Is that how this is going to work? Yeah, oh goodness. Oh, I'm not pressing space. Getting on to get with the momentum. I know, calm down, it's alright. Okay then, so I need to do very little bits of movement. just to try and sort of maintain my elevation. I don't want to drive myself up, otherwise I'll develop too much momentum. Alright. Alright. Oh dear. I don't know if hot air balloons and zeppelins were ever involved in the same aerial space at the same time. I don't feel like hot air balloons were used very much at this point in time. To be honest, I don't feel like hot air balloons have ever been used at any point in time to any great degree. I feel like they're not a very efficient mode of transportation. But, mind you, zeppelins don't seem particularly efficient either, given you've got this map. I'm sorry, what? I was in the slap bang in the middle of the screen. Am I not allowed to touch the zeppelins either? Is that what happened? Okay, fair enough. I suppose this has been a platforming game thus far. It would make sense there was some sort of obstacle for me to avoid. Alright. I wasn't expecting to descend into a game of Flappy Bird, but here we are. Yes, I never quite understood the concept of a zeppelin, really. Because you have this enormous bubble of gas, and then you just have this tiny little box underneath. It seems enormously inefficient. As opposed to something like an aeroplane, which can carry lots of people and just has a couple of engines strapped to the side. Okay, here we go. There we are. There we go. Just slip through. There we go. Mind you, I suppose the evidence for my point that zeppelins and hot air balloons aren't particularly efficient is proven by the fact that we don't really use them. When I say we don't really use them, I mean we don't use them at all. Okay. Okay. I'll get through this. I don't know how no one's noticed me thus far. You think they just look out of a window. But, I must say, I must have been given a hell of an education as a kid if I'm competent enough in order to navigate a hot air balloon without getting my little paws burnt. It seems like we might be out of the worst of it. We've gotten past the fleet. We are behind enemy lines, and we can now travel off into quite literally the wild blue yonder. Now where am I going? Oh, the camera's going down now. I'm not convinced I really want to do that. Especially not with the banshees that seem to be down here. Okay, we're heading back into the city. Or into something a bit worse. I'm going to come over here so that you have a slightly better view. Camera only seems to go down when I'm at the very bottom of the screen, which I'm not a massive fan of. Oh, giddy, I'm guessing I don't want to collide with that. Yep, I'm just going to go out on a whim there and say that this drone, which seems to be propelled not by propellers, but indeed by a few hot air balloons, is something I should avoid bumping into. Do I need to continue to go down, or do I eventually want to go across as well? Well, the camera's only going down, so that seems to be alright. Do I want to land on these platforms to the left, or do I want to desperately avoid them? I don't know. I don't know where my goal is, my objective is. Oh, what's this? This looks like something we could land on, perhaps. Come in for a gentle landing. Oh no, I'm going behind it, aren't I? It's a giddy aunt. Oh, giddy aunt, it's a big spikiness. Oh no. I don't want to stay in the middle in case. Oh, giddy aunt. In case my bulbous sides get slightly popped. But at the same time, I don't want to go down so fast that I'm sorry. What? Oh, not back here again. For goodness sake. Dear. Balancing acts. Okay. Let's try this again. Oh navigate our way past these little drones. They're strange. I was going to say cameras, but there's an odd disconnect here in terms of the technology. On the one hand, the technology is very advanced, what with the spider ant thing and the great walking creature thing. I have no idea what to call them. I don't know. They don't have names, certainly none that I'm aware of. So on the one hand, the technology seems quite advanced in terms of its automation, for want of better terminology, but on the other hand, it also seems quite rudimentary in terms of the old zeppelins and hot air balloons, which makes me think that perhaps the red dots aren't in fact cameras. They're something less advanced than that. Okay, we can let the camera go down a little bit more. Try to slow my descent somewhat. I'll just come across here. There we go, there we go, there we go. That's better. Just wait for it to go, there we go. There we go, that's better. Now can I please land? A hotel, yes. I could use a bit of a sleep at this point. Of course, I died moments away. Giddy aunt. Moments away from moments away from safety. Moments away from an autosave. Oh yeah, and I can't hang about much, can I? Because I need to stay within the confines of the screen. What the hell? How the hell do I get through here? Great difficulty. I'm gonna need to go. I need to stay up higher because there's only one thing I need to get past here. This is on the lower level where there's two. I suppose you could stop in the middle, but I ain't one for stopping and hanging around. I've waited long enough as it is. I'm guessing I don't want to touch those cables at the top, otherwise these obstacles would be rather too easy to avoid. Another hotel. Goodness, the tourism industry around here must be fantastic. Can't much say I understand why, though. I feel like free movement of people isn't exactly high on the priorities of these armband-wearing individuals. Okay, are we going down? It seems to be yes. I'm going to guess that unlike what is the usual standard in games, where blue represents the good guys and red represents the bad guys, I'm going to guess that red actually represents the good guys, because the boxes, which have been helpful, and the I don't know if I can touch these chimneys or not. No, I can. It's very difficult to tell what's in the foreground and what isn't. The boxes, which have been helpful to me, along with that ball, which was questionably helpful, and this balloon, have all been represented with red. And this graffiti's red as well. I'm now going to go right, aren't I? Yeah. I feel like this graffiti has got to have been created by somebody that's not very pleased with the status quo. Someone that's against the chaps in charge. And that's not just stereotyping of graffiti artists. That's just I don't know what it is, but it's me trying to stop myself from digging myself into a hole. So yes, I think red represents the good people rather than the bad people, for once. I feel like I should let the camera catch up a little. What the hell is that? That's like a spiky part of a windmill, isn't it? Giddy aunt. There's also the red lights on the building, but I somehow doubt they represent quite as much positivity as... Oh, God. No, down. I'm back up again. Oh, giddy aunt. Oh, come on. Oh, gosh. Man alive. how the hell am I surviving this? Oh, blind luck is the answer to that question. Oh dear. This game is varied, much more varied than I was expecting. Though this is so often the case, I really wasn't expecting anything in this game. I never really have expectations when I go into a game. I feel like I've got to do this all over again now, haven't I? I feel like it's not good to go into a game with expectations. I suppose if it has a pedigree, you can have expectations, like a sequel, for example. You know, if you were playing a new Silent Hill game, for example, and you played all the previous ones, you could go into it with some form of expectations about what the game should be. You know, it should live up to the standard which its ancestors have set. And I feel like little one-off games, you shouldn't really go into them with expectations. You should just take them for what they are. I feel like this is turning into a debate about people that video game critics, but that's a debate for another day. Let's just focus on getting through this without getting chopped into a million pieces or burned into a million pieces. Okay, I think we're roughly back to where we was. Yeah, we didn't encounter another one of these great moving, whatever the hell they are. They remind me a little bit of a water wheel in a mill by a river. I'm not convinced they're nearly as innocent though. I thought there was a little face in the window. I saw that extra collectible. I'll try and get it, but no promises. There we go. I know this game has quite a few achievements. I think I had 14. I'm not sure how many I've got so far, probably about 4 or 5. I don't know if they're... I presume that the vast majority of them are going to be story related, which might mean that this game is a wee bit... Oh good, and I'm straight back here again. Which might mean that this game is a bit longer than I anticipated. But I presume one of the achievements will be for getting all of these little collectibles. I am rather entertained by the fact that it is seldom the actual obstacles that are killing me at the moment. It's just bumping into the local architecture. That's what's killing me. Right, give me a moment. Once again, I shall get us back to where we were. Right. I hate to jinx it, but I reckon we're out of the woods. Down again? Or up again? Up. Right. Don't leave me hanging like that, game. Ah. We've reached the Nova Labs halfway. Don't tell me I died again. If I've died again, I'm going to be very cross, game. The balloon. Okay. So I went down into the bunker that I found in my home. And then a steam pipe blew, as if we were playing a game of Vanish. Now what do we have here? Energy capacitor. That reminds me of the ball that we were put in before. And this is talking about those switches that change the gravity, along with some stuff. Along with some stuff which is meant to be mathematical, and I recognise the vast majority of it. I'm just not convinced it's at all relevant, which either means that my knowledge is too advanced or not advanced enough. But alright. The beginning? The beginning of what? You mean I'm looking at the prototypes? Like the beginning of all this? Oh, and now you put me back to the beginning of the game. Somebody played Arkham Asylum and got impressed. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, judging by all of the chimneys, we're in some sort of industrial complex. But at least we haven't got any more momentum to deal with. At least. Okay. Okay. Elevators moving without any people in them. That's a little odd, but I suppose I shouldn't be complaining given the fact that if there were people around here, they'd probably want to murder me. If I had to guess. Right then. Interestingly, this game makes a little bit even balance if you're travelling left and right, which is unusual. Usually the vast majority of these games just want you to travel right. Which is a very small detail, but it's appreciated. What the hell are they making here? Well, presumably everything which has made our lives a living hell for the past hour and a half. Or maybe not quite that long. Alright. Let's see what kind of interesting automatons we can find here. Okay, so they do have cameras. Interesting. Oh no. Oh no. If I stand on top of these boxes, am I safe? They seem to be. Sorry about that. Slight technical muck-up. I thought when this prompt came up it meant that I could move it while standing on top of it, which would have been a hell of a thing. Okay, so presumably I need one of these. Oh, there's a person there. Presumably I need one of these to press this button. That opens that. And then perhaps I can use one of the other boxes and send it up there. Now I can't make that jump on my own, can I? No, so I'm going to use one of the boxes as a step, and then I can use one of the boxes and send it upwards. Gideon. Ah, Gideon, I chickened out of that, didn't I? Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand on top of it, wait for it to go by, and then I'm just going to screw the whole thing up royally. Gideon. If when I pressed the button it actually did the thing it was supposed to, I would appreciate it, game. Right, there we are. So this is in a slightly more piecemeal style. I think that's wisest. Okay, right. Use this as the stepping stone. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, that's plenty. Okay, but I want to bring this over here so that it's set up to move as soon as I need it. I don't want to have to come back for this later. There we go. Okay. Well, that's all set up and ready. I reckon it's going to be that switch just above me with a little red dot on it. If I remember correctly, that's the type of switch which sends these things going. I find myself wondering if the man with a very modern haircut is watching me through these cameras, or is just observing through the window. Presumably he must be able to see something, otherwise he wouldn't just be standing there. Oh, no. I know what your game is. Right. I need to pull this back. I need to not get quite far enough in order to grab it and then run away. Grab it. There we go. Just bring it to safety. There we go. And then just place it somewhere good, like that. And then I've got to use this as a stepping stone, and I've got to travel extremely quickly. There we go. Very nice. Right then. Now, nice touch, game. Nice touch. Okay, what does this do? This sends the box going, presumably. I can press the right key. There we go. Now I want to stand in just the right place so that I get this collectible. Excuse me? I'm pressing the key. I'm pressing K and nothing's happening. Thank you. Thank you. Oh no. It's a person processing plant. And there is my poor old mother. Right, where do I want to take this box? Presumably off to the right, given that I can't take it left. Okay. I'm going to have to push the box into the space between the spikes and then stand on it, aren't I? Like that. This should work. Just. Kitty on that nearly sliced me in two. That one did slice me in two. Perhaps I need to go on the other side of it and drag it off to the right rather than push it off to the right. Perhaps that would work better at that point. I did consider doing that earlier. I was somewhat against the idea. Oh, actually, I could just do this, couldn't I? The boxes will be far. The boxes, it doesn't matter if they get stabbed to bits. Yeah, I can just do this. This is much more efficient. This is much more sensible. Yeah, this works perfectly. Goodness. Don't know why I bothered overcomplicating the matter. Don't know why I didn't take that opportunity to make a bit more progress either. But never mind. It's my dearest mother, I shall come and save you. Right. Not convinced I understand what that did. I mean, it didn't do anything good, obviously. Mind you, it did turn everything from blue to red, which if my earlier theory is correct, that might be a good thing. Although I would know that my eyes are blue, not red. So, the fact that my mother seems to have just been mulched is also a little concerning, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Novatech building. Yes, indeed. There's still... me and my big mouth. I was about to say there's still the mystery of my father. But that little mystery seems to have been solved. We seem to have found him. How the hell is this going to work? Interestingly is the answer. Why am I beginning to feel more and more like a test subject? Like a lab rat. And I'm just the latest bit of technology that they're experimenting with. Right, I need to do this in such a way that I don't land on that big spiky thing. Saw blade, that's the word I'm looking for. Never mind, it doesn't matter that I didn't land on the big spiky thing. I still managed it. Kitty aunt. Okay. Let's try that again, this time a little less incompetently. There we are. I did it that time so that I didn't have to, so that I didn't have to jump over it, which was good. That was competent to me. The fact that I only stepped onto these is less competent to me, but never mind. I think this is just a matter of picking your battles, and picking them very carefully. I want to get that extra thing, but that's going to involve jumping over this at least once. I wouldn't mind if it saved more frequently, but obviously it doesn't. There we go, okay. I was a little worried that if I jumped, I might bump my head on them spikes. Let's see. Let's use the same tactic we've always been using. Just push my face into the spikes. And we'll get it sorted out. Okay. That was too close for comfort. There we go. How the hell do I get onto the seat? Because I need to sort that out. Do I need to jump down here first? Yes, I do. Okay, so we can go up here. And then kitty, and I nearly walked straight into that. And I put this box on here, get this set up to go. I go across and use this to set it off. Yeah, there we go. Now I'll just take myself back. Straight back to where I came from. I must say, I'm enjoying the slight uptick in the music. It's an odd combination of... Don't put me back. Oh, for goodness sake, game. I always seem to fall at the final hurdle. Who am I kidding? I fall at every frickin' hurdle. Yeah, the music is an odd combination of styles, and I can't quite pin down one way of describing it. Right, let's do this again. Leaving the use of the mouse way behind me and having both of my hands crossed over on the... Oh, for crying out... Right, I'm going to try a different tactic this time, a tactic which seemed to work slightly better earlier. He says, immediately abandoning... Oh, for crying out loud! Right. That's better. Right. Well, let's sincerely hope that I can quit this game, sort out the technical difficulties, and come back without losing any progress. Right. Hopefully everything is working as it should be. No. Right. Let's have another encounter with Yoli Spider Person. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Sorry, that was just very frustrating for me. It was just very frustrating because you couldn't minimize the number of jumps that you had to make. You had to accept that you had to jump over more saw blades than you wanted to, which was irritating. Because you kept trying to minimize, or I kept trying to minimize the number of saw blades I had to jump over, and that kept screwing me over. And then I would jump over the saw blades the correct number of times, and then it would just still get utterly screwed, and it was just driving me mad. And it wasn't even the fact that what I was doing was physically difficult, it was more just the frustrating elements that every time I got it wrong, I had to go back to the beginning and do all of that earlier bit again, just like I've got to do now. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When something goes wrong in a game, all you want to do is just try again to mend it. You don't want to spend ages recovering the same ground again so that you can try once more. Now I feel like I've got to say, I know it means that dying is actually dangerous and it's not just a meaningless death. Yes, I get it. I know that. Doesn't make it any less bloody frustrating though, does it? Crying out loud. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. You know what a ridiculous thing is? Ridiculous thing is, we've literally just gotten through a heat wave here. And the weather has dropped by like 13 degrees. And now the weather's nice, and somehow I'm still really hot. I said to myself, you know what, I won't record anything yesterday, because it's pointless, so there's no way I'll be able to record anything in that sweltering heat. I thought, no, I'll record something today, because, you know, it's much cooler today. And it is. It's still too hot though. Giddy on. I feel like I should move somewhere colder. Somewhere significantly colder. Dear. Post-haste. Andorra, maybe. It's closer to the equator, but the altitude is so much higher that, there's a great big spiky panel. Well, if it is, it's inactive enough that it doesn't matter. Ugh, dear. The altitude might make things cooler. I don't know. All the pictures of it seem to have snow in the mountains, so, you know, I'm just rolling with the idea that it might be a little cooler. Not convinced it's particularly wise to decide where you're going to live merely based off of the fact that you don't like the temperature. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, for crying out loud. I need more greater variety of phrases to express my dissatisfaction. I haven't got that many. Giddy aunt. Right, about time. I've never been quite so pleased to see the word exit. But I'm very pleased to see it now. Right. Oh, just when spiders couldn't get any worse, you had to go and put scary faces on them. Mind you, those Zeppelins do have the graffiti face on them, implying they might be from the rebellion. For want of better terminology for them. Please say it's not another air balloon level. I don't think I could cope with another of those. Now, I'm guessing they're not from the rebellion, because I reckon the rebellion would be on my side. Assume I'm not in control of this. No, the keys don't seem to be doing anything. Who's that down there on the left with the red stripes? Is that one of my parents? Presumably, and hopefully they're alive. Well, I mean, dead people don't tend to catapult themselves into hot air balloons, so I'll go out on a limb and say that they hopefully are. Right. Final song. Oh, you mean that one I was talking about earlier? Yes, very impressive. I'd probably get us a copyright strike, but that's life. And that was Ollie, presumably. Assuming that is indeed how it is pronounced. Right. Let's see if there's anything. Okay, there's not anything after the credits. That is indeed it. Man alive. That was a hell of a thing. That was a hell of a thing. It didn't communicate via a single word. It just communicated via images. And it communicated incredibly effectively. Which is very impressive. And this is often the case. If you can communicate without words, you somehow seem to communicate much more universally and effectively than you can with words. Hence why physical comedy is so universally appealing. Right, I'm trying to have a discussion about like the quality of the game. It obviously is. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. It's excellent. You've seen it. You don't need me to prattle on about it. It's very impressive and excellent in every way. To be honest, I have no complaints about that at all. It's frustrating as hell at some points when you keep constantly dying because you waited one split second too long, or you jumped one split second too early. And I always seem to die just before the autosaves, rather than just after them, which is mind-numbingly frustrating. But that was interesting. I was left with a great many questions. I have no idea who these fans of blue are, or what exactly it is that they're trying to achieve, or how they came to power, or why they all seem to love arachnids. Nor do we know anything about this Red Rebellion, which seemed to take over at the end, but judging by the fact that they seem to be not on my side in terms of chasing me right there at the end, I somehow doubt they're going to be particularly preferable to the blue people. But it seems as if we saved at least one of the parents. I do find myself wondering now, actually, whether my father wasn't quite as innocent as initially I thought. Because in that scene where we saw who I at least assume was meant to be the character's father, looking back on that image now, perhaps he was actually on their side, working with them. But then why would he betray his own family? I don't know. Let's not even get into it. Let's just say that that was a very impressive game, and I very much enjoyed playing it, even though it made me very angry at one point. And I apologise for that. I apologise for losing my temper. But that was good. I enjoyed that. I hope you did as well. Thank you very much for joining this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look after each other, and good night.